Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Live. I'm Oluwayemi Mary Adelako.
And I'm Anulu Akpo for joining us this morning as we get into the conversation.
Exactly. And today, this morning on the Daybreak Gist, we intend to talk about this particular headline that says, I didn't know PDP still exists. Allow party to die totally, Apabio tells a wiki. And of course, we consider the implications of such rhetoric on Nigeria's political landscape. Then afterwards, we'll bring you a review of today's major newspaper headlines and the stories shaping conversations across the country.
And then on the big story, we ask a question. 2027 elections. Will technology strengthen Nigeria's electoral integrity as electronic accreditation, result transmission, and digital innovations continue to evolve? Can technology truly enhance the credibility of Nigeria's elections? Joining us for that conversation is Honorable Molaja Olaoye, an APC stalwart, this morning.
Exactly. Stay with us even as we explore these topics this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Yemi.
Exactly. So what we have for the big gist, just like I said earlier, I didn't know PDP still exists. Allow party to die totally, and that's coming from Apabio. And he said these words to the minister, Wike, Minister of FCT, and this happened yesterday. And of course, even the newspaper I'm reading from is saying, let me read to you, the president of the Senate, Gospel Apabio, on Wednesday mocked the People's Democratic Party. That's coming from Daily Post. And then you begin to ask questions about that word, why they decided to use that word, mock the People's Democratic Party, saying he was surprised the party still exists and should be allowed to die. And then he made the remarks yesterday while speaking at the commissioning of a road project in the Gadowa district of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. And then he said to Wiki, allow me read the words to you. I didn't know there was still PDP. I'm sure he's somewhere, and so many other distinguished senators, members of the working committee of the people of the APC. Wiki, stop confusing us. If a party has died, allow it to die. And Nigerians are asking, is PDP truly dead? Because, I mean, the party won election recently, local government, and then we see their candidates everywhere. Even in your state, they are contesting for one seat or the other, at the state level, at the local government level. And so for a party that came in, had national outlook, ruled Nigeria for 16 years at the presidency, and then even governors, even the same person, the Senate president, who is saying the party is dead, was governor under PDP for 8 years in his state, Akwa Ibom. And now he's coming out to say, allow the party to die. If a party has died, allow it to die. So my question now this morning is to Wike, basically, because if you should allow the party to die, will it not become partyless, or is it going to jump ship or defect to the APC? So before we can conclude that PDP is dead, I think it will take a while, because we still have, people contesting for seat, and then the party still, we still have some level of, let me say, popularity. You cannot compare PDP to some other smaller parties. For a party that had that kind of strength, there was a time that some observers, even global observers, they referred to PDP as the biggest party in Africa. So beyond the factions going on, because we have some members in your state. When I even asked one recently, I asked him, are you a member of APM or a member of PDP? He said PDP, APM. And I was a bit confused, because we really cannot tell until the end of general elections 2027. That's when we're able to tell whether this party is truly dead or is still living, basically. And that's the conversation for this morning, because I really do not think PDP is dead yet. Yes, the party is going through internal crisis, and then it has become really difficult for the NWC, for the BOT to solve this crisis. But I don't think PDP is dead yet.
Well, speaking of death, I think it's just important, right? But I think one way to also look at this conversation is to say, has he died or has he not died, is secondary to make it dead already. So it wasn't just saying, well, I wasn't aware that PDP is still alive. What he said after that was telling Nyesom Wike, dead it, like we say in our local parlance. It's trying to tell him to, whatever you're trying to do, do it quick, that kind of thing. So let these people go to rest so we can have the election proper. And there were different conversations about rubber stamping, and I checked into the meaning of something being a rubber stamp. And the figurative meaning of that is that it means to approve something automatically, without real thought, debate, or even fact checking and all of that. So there are a lot of people who think this present administration, particularly the houses that we have, especially the Senate House, are just rubber stamping everything from this administration. Because we also understand they have an oversight function, and also they have a function to check into what this executive administration is doing. And a lot of persons are claiming they are not doing what they should do in that wise. But I would not pitch my tent there, but I'm only giving out different ways that people are looking at this particular conversation. Because when he said that, he called Wike a name. He said he's a performing minister. And then he went on to say, if every other minister who had served in Abuja, that is, Wike is now making them look like they just came to drink tea in Abuja. And I'm asking the question, really? Why should we clap for years on Wike because he's constructing roads with the federal money? Why should it be a big deal that roads, which is supposed to be a normal thing in a state or a country, is being applauded, like it's getting standing ovation?
That tells you the standard has become really low.
Apparently. So that's why those people are saying that there's a bit of rubber stamp. I also mentioned that it's not just Wike, that even Tinubu is performing that. This was the way the prince brought it out, that he's doing miracles. And I was like, really? President Tinubu is doing miracles? Okay. I get his point. I see the point he's trying to make. And the point is, this administration has been doing a lot of things, and nobody can question that, especially about the macroeconomic and all of that. And they are doing fantastic, right? But now to say from a Senate leader that they are working miracles mean that there's a chance they might not request for more from them. Because if you feel someone has surpassed your expectation, the chances are that you begin to lower your expectation to say, this person has already surpassed my expectation, so they don't need to work again. If there's anybody that needs to call Tinubu, Baba, we need you to work more on this, I think it should be the Senate, right? And it should also be the Senate leader. So if the Senate leader is having that body language to the administration, imagine what every other person in the cabinet will say. So whenever Tinubu brings one Oluwayemi Adelakun to become another person, maybe in power, in a governor or in whatever seat, as an appointment, they would not need to check it because they already believe this man is a miracle worker and is doing everything right. So let's just give this person, a stamp and say, okay, yeah, you can go ahead and do. And that's what we've been seeing over time, right? So a lot of persons are still saying what's supposed to be playing out between the executive arm of government as well as the Senate arm, in that way, the legislative arm, is not really happening. And that's why maybe some would say this administration of Tinubu is a bit complacent. Well, they've done some things good, but there are a lot of things they are also not doing. Can we focus more on the things they are not doing and try to help them do it? I'm not saying focus on it like they've not done anything good. There's no, so when he mentioned about the FCT, I understand. I've been in the news. I've been following across the news platform how that the administration of the FCT minister has constructed a lot of roads, has done a lot of things, it's laudable. But for him to say that every other person that served in that capacity felt like it must have been looking like they went to Abuja to drink tea, and then Nyesom Wike is a performing minister. Okay, but much more. Can he now say to them to do more? And that's my problem. My problem is not whether or not they've done well or whether or not he's praising them. Beyond the praise, beyond the applause, beyond every of those things that we see, can you tell them now that there are a lot of things they've not done? In Abuja, as we speak, there are situations that are still, bedeviling them. I know for one, there was a time there were a lot of protests in Abuja, and we're here talking about it. And so there are a lot of things that could have been done better or can be done better by this administration that I think the Senate is not looking at. And again, about the president, I really would like that they can also speak to, sometimes when they go for occasions, I wonder what their mind is on. I wonder what they are thinking about. Because you see, when a nation is plagued with a lot of insecurity issues and we have people dying on a daily basis, you see these people coming together doing political movements, and then they are all smiley, they are all jokey, everybody's just trying to throw tantrums, they are enjoying life as if nothing is happening. And I think that body language is not good. That's why some people would not even believe in any government or any political leader in Nigeria, because they feel like at the end of the day, these people have a way of meeting themselves. Whatever they do and throw to us is just one of those antics and rhetorics. But the real thing they do is that they are friends and they know themselves and they do whatever they do together. They leave the Nigerian people to suffer, and then they have these conversations. Yes, these people have done well, but that he said they should now kill means that it's also we know there were many persons that were saying that Nyesom Wike has been anti-party in that sense too. He's been carrying a lot of anti-party activities out in the PDP, and that was why a lot of persons said, oh yeah, maybe the other people, the other facts, or the other sect that are trying to take over the PDP are right. So I guess this is also a way to blow it out, to say maybe Nyesom Wike has been doing that, has been the brain behind why and how PDP has not really done well in the last few years, especially playing the opposition game well. Some would say, okay, yes, now it's now obvious to the blind now that this is the case. But again, I'm not sure it should come from a Senate leader to look out for, because one of the things that this will bring out is that conversation of one party states. And this is yet again a conversation. If you don't want the PDP to contest election, how do you even expect a free, fair, and credible election in the first place, right? So I'm thinking from the angle of the elections to say, I'm not expecting this kind of statement. It was just he could have encoded it, right? He could have shrouded it in secrecy. But he just went on to say, PDP, okay, why mention? There's a way you can say that would not mean that, oh, you're trying to speak to, but I think they really do not care. And that's the point. They don't care who sucks is God. They don't care what happens to the country. They don't care what the state of the nation is. And they don't care if there's credible, free, fair, and election in the country, and they just want whatever they want. They don't want the PDP to contest, and it's obvious now to everybody that they don't want it. But I mean, if there's anything they can do right, instead of just praising themselves, let there be an open, what do we call that thing? Is it an open playground or a fair playing ground for everybody to come and contest? If you think you have what is better as per the APC party, then present it. Let the PDP present theirs, and let's see who gets to win election. Not that you are saying to someone to outrightly annihilate one party. I think you are also tilting towards the one party state that a lot of persons are saying no to.
Exactly. And in addition to that, I think, if anything, he's been very vocal about his anti-party activities. I remember I went on national TV one time and he said we worked against the party. And then he was talking about himself and the other governors, the G5. And that was not the first time that we experienced G5 in Nigeria. That was like the second time. So he said quite a number of things. And then he said the reason why they did that was because of the zoning system. According to him, the party should not have zoned the presidency to the north again, because of certain things, because of the party constitution, and because of that, he worked against the party. So good luck to PDP. And now, let me just say something. I think you mentioned it briefly. That statement, from the Senate president, in a way, justifies the claim of some Nigerians to say, this political party, APC, do not want opposition parties to operate effectively. I remember around last year, even the president himself came out to say, the opposition parties are in disarray, and I enjoy watching them. So, I mean, these people are a bit vocal about what they want, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really make sense. If we say we practice multi-party system, and at the end of the day, you cannot really point to an opposition party that is functioning effectively, then there's a problem. If you look at all those opposition parties now, if from one court case to the other, they don't even have time to plan for the next election. Look at NDC, look at the PDP as well, look at talk to me about the other parties. Look at Accord, look at Labour Party. They are all fighting one battle or another, and it's a problem. And so at the end of the day, we should not begin to look at issues this way, because the global observers are watching, and if we say we are operating a multi-party system, let's keep it that way. If not, let's just switch to one-party system or maybe two-party system. Why should we operate a multi-party system and then the opposition parties are not performing their duties? And this, see, we've never had this bad in Nigeria. Speaking about opposition parties in Nigeria, it's a terrible situation, and I really do believe that it can be better even as we progress. Speaking about the next general elections, and it's a fine place to leave that discussion this morning. We take a short break, and when we come back, we move on to newspaper headlines and analyses. We'll be right back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. It's time for newspaper headlines and analysis, and we take dailies on this morning. And of course, the banner headline is saying eligible voters now to download PVC online. INEC says full online registration available. Also, election timetable dispute, court reserves judgment in commission's appeals, and Nigerians have a lot to say about that new development. Is Nigeria ready for that kind of development? I think we'll talk about that more in the big story this morning. And another headline is saying my presidency will unite Nigeria for robust human capital development. That's coming from Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the NDC. Let's not forget about the court case, before that party, alongside the PMP, the Peace Movement Party as well. Another headline is saying presidency brands are DMA con artists, insists alleged counsel fake. Says Gbadabiamila was first to blow whistle. And away from that, we also have a song that says coup plot, 5 ex-governor Civils associate arraigned over concealment of his whereabouts. Talking about the coup plot, and that we've been on that matter for months now. Our federal government unveils an initiative to track every learner from primary school to NYSC. A good development. Nigerians back NYSC skills reform, raise funding, calm concerns. A lot of Nigerians are actually happy about the reforms, beyond changing the uniform. I think they're excited about the new program, the agriculture corps, the education corps, where you get a PK corps at the point of registration. And of course, it has been extended from 3 weeks to 6 weeks, 2 weeks each. And away from that, we also have this headline that says IMF, Nigeria's unreported of budget spending worth 2% of GDP. And the final headline for this morning, World Bank approves fresh $1.25 billion loan for Nigeria. And that's how much we can take. Speaking about headlines this morning, we take a short break, and when we come back, we move on to the big story. Please stay with us.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
As Nigeria gradually shifts towards the 2027 general elections, one question continues to dominate the airwaves, and that question is of importance to many persons in the country. And that's speaking about the election come 2027. What should we expect, especially now that the INEC and every other person has said technology can help us? But the question is, can technology finally deliver elections that are more transparent, credible, and acceptable to Nigerians? The 2023 elections witnessed the deployment of the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, which is the BVAS, and of course, the INEC results viewing portal as well, IREV. But while BVAS significantly reduced incidents, multiple voting, and manual accreditation challenges with a timely electronic transmission of results sparked legal disputes and public debate, raising fresh concerns about electoral integrity. So today, on The Big Story, we ask the question, will technology strengthen Nigeria's electoral integrity in 2027, or will institutional and human factors continue to outweigh technological innovations? Joining us to discuss this conversation is Honorable Molaja Olaoye, an APC stalwart this morning. You're welcome to The Big Story, Honorable.
Good morning to you, Anu. Thanks for having me this morning.
I think it's of interest to me that you are joining us because you are the present administration in power. It's talking about the national level. And I think it's a conversation that has always drawn interest from people to say the incumbent administration is almost into the politics of directing the way the INEC, particularly the Independent National Electoral Commission, would accord themselves for the election. So if the INEC body will do well, it's going to be linked to the incumbent administration. If they will do badly and poorly, it will also be linked to you. But there are questions and allegations about this present INEC chairman as well, because you also understand that it was maybe put there, or even maybe, let's put it the right way. It was nominated and was referred to the Senate to be screened by the President Bola Tinubu. And so that has brought a lot of questions to say, is it a situation of, if you rub my back, I will rub yours, or is going to be a free fair? Not to forget that just recently, Amukwito, the INEC chairman, said that this time around is going to be different, that they are trying to invest more in technology this time around to ensure that there is no case of voter malpractice or all of those instances that could come and maybe put a dent on the image of the INEC or on the chairman. So I think one of the conversation is they are trying to involve technology in all of this system. But help us, based on what you have seen in time past as a Nigerian, even before you became an APC person, you've seen a lot of elections and you have the privilege and the advantage of time to understand what has happened in the past and how that we have now progressed. But do you see hope in 2027 elections?
Thanks to you, Anu. I don't even know where to start because you have put so many questions to me. You are talking about integrity of the INEC, Amputan, and you are talking about how probably the ruling party now are trying to manipulate the INEC themselves. But now you are now asking me what I've seen, the difference between the past election and this present election. I would say now we are having not entirely perfect system, but I will tell you 80% of rigging has been eradicated.
80%.
80% of election results have been manipulation has been eradicated. Because when they started, you are talking about just ordinary. You are not talking about hardware before, whereby you just have to use voter's card. That's not been technically documented, and it has never been computerized before. And then you are going to see what you are calling manipulation of election. You are going to see overvoting. You are going to see thumbprinting, prepared thumbprint, ballot papers that is just going to be injected into the ballot boxes. You are seeing stealing of ballot boxes. You are seeing many infractions. You are seeing people that have been forced in the presence of gun or cutlass that they must vote for a particular party. But now we have seen the technology. Mind you, this technology you are talking about is being borrowed from where it has been practiced, and it has been managed very well. This is what we have to realize. And with what is happening in the whole world right now, you are talking about computer-based system that has eradicated a lot of frauds. So now we must thank God, and we must, for the Nigerians are always demanding for more. We are over to it, which is right, which is good, because without any sanity in our electoral process, we are going to be having problem all the time. Now, their demand and their demand has been systematically given, and which is good for the polity at this present moment. But now coming to probably it is the federal government or the present administration that is trying to manipulate Amputan. The question is that, is Amputan qualified or not?
Is it qualified?
Is it qualified or not? That's the question.
Sorry, let me put it to you, Honorable.
If you are not qualified, you are not going to be in the studio. They cannot just try and go to Ibia Palo and try to get somebody to be in the studio. Now, your intellectual capacity, the way you present yourself, the way you ask questions is different from NTA or any other, or any other platform of the past. You can see your studio. It is different from the past system, whereby even there are some government-owned broadcasting stations that are not having those. You are talking about intellectual, capable journalists who are going to be asking questions. So now, Amputan is qualified in all ramifications. He was into law. When you see his CV, you are going to know this man. INEC is not just bringing a professor in sociology or somebody who is in animal. I'm not trying to downplay all these people, but you are talking about law. That this INEC is always embodied with the mistake they made when we are talking about any time there is election. But this man, and we have had in the time past what INEC has been budgeted to litigation all the time. So if all this can be eradicated, I think we are going to have sanity in our system.
I wanted to take you up on the point, but this is not about the credibility of Amukbiton. I know this conversation is about technology and how best we can use it for 2027 elections. But I wanted to maybe differ on one of the opinions that you shared. You said if someone is not qualified, you're not likely going to be in a position where you have to deliver. Otherwise, they will have taken you away. And I get the point. But in politics, it is a lot different. And I know you know this. We've had people who served in political positions in power places, and then they did not deliver and they had to go. Eventually, so what you can say that they were brought there because they thought they would deliver, but they were not able to deliver. And that could be the case of Amukbiton. I know some sect of lawyers came about one time to say that Amukbiton is not credible, and it was just a group of lawyers that came out to say that. So it wasn't just a thing of maybe Amukbiton is credible because he's there. He's going to be credible after 2027, and that's why and how people are going to judge him, right? But we're not discussing his credibility, but let's take it a step further now about this election now. Some have also said that this present administration that was brought in by the last election, I was actually part of that election in a sense, because I presided over a particular polling unit in Benue State at the time, and I saw a bit of things that happened. I saw some of the problems that we had, especially with the beavers and some of this technology that they have brought to be, which is some of them are manageable, others are not as manageable. But there was a conversation at the Senate ground, and I know you don't know this, about whether we should make electronic transmission of results the main thing, or we can have it both ways, that if we cannot transmit, then we can use this. So it was a real discussion. But some have said this administration and then the APC people at the Senate level did not want this to fly because they know that it will check out every possible manipulation and malpractice come 2027. But would you like to respond to this?
Oh, thank you very much. When you are talking about transmission of election from the polling unit, you and me know that not entire Nigeria is being covered by all these, internet connection, which is can likely fail at any point in time. And mind you, if it's made to be law without any clause in it, a lot of politicians are going to use it. You know what happened in 2023, whereby some people believe Federal Capital City is the soul of Nigeria. It's because the technicalities, not that they don't know, it is how, when we are talking about issue of vote ban, if not the last election that was held in the United States, whereby there's money bag man, the multi-trillionaire, is trying to influence people that if you register, this is how much you are going to be able to get.
Elon Musk.
And that is when they know that it is entrenched in their law that is going to be result to vote ban, which has been happening in that developed world for a very long time. But now, what we expect each other, any political party that is going to cover nationally, must be able, whether you are doing senatorial election, governorship election, or president election, you must be able to fill all polling units in Nigeria. That is why, for you to know that our electoral system, our election, or the party, or the kind of election we are doing in Nigeria, is money, it got a lot of money. You will see in the place of the United States of America, people donated. But in the case of Nigeria, that is where they have to solve all these problems.
So people donate to Tinubu.
It is not well transparent in any political party. We are seeing what happened in 2023, whereby it is Mr. Peter Obi that was in charge of the donation, and which wasn't supposed to be, because all the donation supposed to be transparent. There's a lot of law we have to reform if we want the sanity to be in the system. But at the end of the day, when you see a kind of political party that cannot be able to field all the polling units, which is party officials, for you to know that there's going to be problem, because every vote being had in any polling unit is always being written in an art form manner as well. All you just have to do is collation. It happens during the time of Oyetola and Adeleke, whereby there was overvoting in Olorun-Shogbo local government, in Oshogbo, and 2,000 were being added to APC. And during the time of collation, one of the party officials came into forefront and notified them at that particular spot, they have to deduct it. It is not when you believe in that technical, it is going to be only electronic system that is going to be solving your problem. It is subject to manipulation as well.
But let me strike. There's an instance I'm willing to share with you. India, for example, has one of the largest democracies in the world. And of course, you also know that they have the population even much more than the country Nigeria. And that has been a conversation. One thing they've done well in India is that they've been able to use electronic mediums. They've used technology a lot, especially in their elections, and they are almost a perfect system. I'm not saying they are perfect, but they are quite close, especially when it comes to election periods. But my question now is, do you think, you mentioned 80% the other time, and I'm going to write this after the election, I'm going to get back to you. I'll probably give a call to you to ask you that you said 80%, because that's a lot of figure you're calling. That 80% of the electoral, or should we say election malpractices, has been forestalled. And I'm looking out for that, which is what we are praying for, that we should have a free, fair, and credible election come 2027. But my question is, do you think Nigeria is doing enough? We know countries that have invested so much in technology. And that's not just about the election period. That's also about every other facets and fields of economy in the country. Nigeria has not done so much, especially in technology. And we also understand the insecurity in the country bedeviling us can be solved in a lot of ways using technology. But we have also not done that. how do we now say that we have done so much in terms of election, in terms of the technology that we should dispense into the election period? Because you're saying 80%. So I want to be sure, is Nigeria doing enough in terms of technology, should we say, technology interplay, and then the politics come 2027?
We are getting there. That's what I'm saying to you. It is gradual. It is not going to be a day job whether you like it or not. You are comparing us with a place like India, who has developed technology-wise for more than probably about 30, 40 years. Nigeria is not, they can be able to produce software, they can be able to, they are building cars, they are building trucks, they are building all things where we are using Nigeria. And India is not technology backward when you are talking about pharmaceutical drugs or any other industrial things like Caterpillar, because they are producing their food themselves. But we are talking about Nigeria, whereby, I am sorry, a lot of us are into how they are going to manipulate a lot of things.
Even this administration?
No, not this administration. I'm talking about, that is why in 2023, there was a time the using of transmission probably it was botched, because they can see that a lot of people have been entering to INEC portals. They are ready to manipulate it, and it's going to cost a lot of money. We have to be developed, forthrightly, and we should be able, we must take that into cognizance as well, and whereby we are not going to cause a kind of confusion. I remember the time when Agor and President Bush was George Bush was having this election, and there was a lockdown. Do you know what the Supreme Court said to them? They said, in order not to cause confusion, they advised and begged God to withdraw the case. Because if that kind of mayhem happen in Nigeria, we cannot be able to avoid vacuum. It's going to subject to probably a kind of anarchy. But that is why this kind of things they must know how they are not going to allow portals, other portals to be corrupt. So we have to, with time, we are developing. I said to you 80%, I know what I mean, because I've been on the field a long time. I've seen whereby I've been chased out with cutlass or gun, but now, if you do that in any of the polling unit, it's going to be cancelled. Any of our voting, even if it's one, if it's true, it's going to be cancelled. For you to know that is why electoral bill was part of constitution in 1999. But later, they can see that it is subject to change. That is why they expunge it and they make sure it is going to be, there will be changes on the electoral act every cycle of elections. For you to know that the Nigerians are not lacking behind, and they are what I really find to be interesting is about direct voting, direct primary. Despite the fact that none of the political party now did it, even APC themselves, they never used that direct primary. But I am telling you, after this time, 2024, in the near future, there's going to be a lot of litigation on it, because there is no way they can be able to manipulate that anymore, in as much as we're interested in the constitution. And a lot of people will have been prepared before that time, but now everything become rowdy, and I believe we are getting somewhere.
Now let me do a bit of data, and I know I also work with facts, and in 2023 general elections, about, if I'm not mistaken, 93 million registered voters were, said to have registered in Nigeria for the election. But eventually, just about 27% was the turnout we had eventually. And that was the lowest since 1999. And I know you know about this as well. But my question is, people have lost trust in the system. People have lost trust in the system that even brought in the present administration of President Bola Tinubu. And that's not to say he is at fault, but people have lost trust in the system. How do we look toward 2027 and expect a large, massive voter turnout? Or what can they do in terms of the INEC now? What can the INEC do to ensure that people come en masse to vote?
Like I said, I don't think people lose interest in election in Nigeria. I would say that because of what has been introduced, a lot of overvoting has been reduced enormously very well. I remember when you are talking about Delta State always providing like 1 point something million in every cycle of election before all these introduction of technologies. And that is where you are going to see a small local government that is going to be turned out to be bringing a larger vote. It happened in your state before. Lagelu local government seems to be the largest producer of any result. It can even be more than Ibadan North, because there are a lot of places you can be able to manipulate the election and do overvoting. But now it has been eradicated. That's why I said to you, majority of the problem we are having in the electoral system has been eradicated. For you to be able to, you cannot just go somewhere and cook and add about 3-0 to around 130, making million. But now they have to know how that vote comes to be, because people that register during the election, those are the people, if they are more to who are good. I remember after people have voted before, they will say there are some slip that remain, and a particular party can just be interpreting it and put it in a. But now it's not like that anymore
because of the accreditation.
Yeah, the accreditation and everything, it has to be tallied. That is for you to know that we are getting somewhere. And it's throughout the whole world. When you are talking about voters apathy, I always remember there was a time the first mayor of London, Ken Livingstone, was brought in by probably about less than 100,000 votes. Whereby in London metropolitan there are 5 million people in London metropolitan
eligible voters.
Eligible voters, and you can see 100,000 that brought a mayor of London into the government. So, and when the guy came, he did a lot of reform. That is when people now realize that they must participate in election.
I like the point you made, but what can Tinubu now do, like the mayor you just mentioned, to ensure that people now abolish voter apathy and come out to vote?
People are not coming out. People are going to come out to vote, because in this election, there are some agitation and desperation in the eyes of the people. People have gone out to register, and the way INEC are doing as well. INEC has said you can be able to register online yourself, and you are going to be able to download it and be able to vote. And again, mind you, NIMIC Act, National Insurance number, NI number, the law has been passed, and it's going to be able to. We are going to be able to use it in futuristic election, and a lot of, because the data is going to be based on NI. Now, if you want to register for any political party, you must provide your NI as well, in order for them to know that it is not just you being cooked to be an electorate. And people that come outside the country cannot be able to get that NI. NI is not going to be easy for them. But mind you, voter's card, voter registration is always easy for a lot of people to register. But when you are talking about NI is always difficult. So with this, I think we are going to see a lot of progress in the nearest election.
And I'm only sharing this because I don't want us to leave that. We've not really touched it. The last election in Ekiti and some other states as well, we saw voter apathy. And that's why I'm very interested in this significant move to say, what is this administration doing? I understand the place of voter education, which I think no party is really doing as we ought to be doing, right? I understand parties are supposed to do. I understand the INEC body is supposed to also do its bit as well. But it seems like there's not much about voter education in the country, Nigeria. And so how do we even expect people to vote? I'm trying to look out for what is, for example, now, your party, APC, what is the APC doing differently that is going to make people come out to vote?
Thank you. Let's do it this way. United States of America is about 500 million people, and the last election that was held, Biden and President Bush, was about 75 million for each political party. You are talking about
Biden and Trump.
Biden and Trump. Okay. That was around probably about 150, less than 150 million people that vote, or probably 200 million. Out of probably 500 million. Now talking, there's always a voters apathy until people see some agitation and desperation to come and vote. And it is anywhere in the world, it is not crime for you not to come out and vote. It is not crime for you not to have voters card. It's a place like Australia that's making it to be crime. It is an obligation for you to vote whenever there's going to be an election. But it has never been anywhere in the world, and you cannot force people as well. And mind you, politician doesn't want you to come and vote.
So
there's no way they can be able to encourage you, because the lesser it is, the opportunity is there for them to be able to win an election.
So even Tinubu is looking for this.
It is not. I will give you an example. When you are talking about the North by-election that we did not quite long ago, the present administration has to give rice and some sugar to people to come out, even when they are in distance, to go and vote. Incentives.
But
even had it's happened in the United States of America as well.
But let's talk about the APC that you belong to. Is that what you intend to do to make people come out?
It is not about what I intended to do. It is what it is just because people like to be they are proud to be great. I'm just saying the way the politician always using any loopholes. I am just being pure to you. I don't want to hide anything. And I gave you an example about the North by-election, because the present administration in Oyo State use the food bank they have to get a lot of people out. When people see about 3 gongos of rice or 4 gongos of rice, they are going to come out and vote, of course. And they are not APC. The present administration in Oyo State is not APC. He used the opportunity he has and he won an election. I'm just saying to you, in human, we all knew the human want is always insatiable. We all want things. And there's no way you are going to see free things and you are not going to be able to encourage to come out. So now, for you to know that we are all part of we are all failed in the system, and how we are going to be able to manage it, I don't know.
I'm still looking for a way where you can assure me that this administration is capable of ensuring that we have a credible election come 2027, because there are a lot of allegations, like you also have mentioned today. But of course, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we hope that, yes, what Amupiton said, that this election is going to be fair.
And it is not only about administration. INEC doesn't deal with the administration. INEC are going to call out the political party, and they are going to ask them questions how they can be able to do the election free and fair of criminality or any other thing. So if you are going to talk about it, INEC is a body who talks to all the political party. Forget about the present administration. If he doesn't do anything, if he does anything wrong, there is a way to litigate against it, and it's going to be taken to law.
I'm not sure we've seen any litigation against the INEC that has come to the fore. I'm not sure anybody has won INEC in that sense to say there were malpractice in some places.
NDC won INEC when he wanted to register them. When he does
that was the registration. I'm talking about election.
You are talking about litigation come in different ways.
We've always seen every election there's always a litigation.
That is why a huge sum of money is already budgeted for INEC for litigation, because they are going to incur a lot of debt,
and they are going to win many times.
I don't know about.
So it's just for parties. It's their word against the parties.
A lot of people have won INEC so many times.
I hope we don't have litigations this time, and everything is free and fair.
Litigation is part of the system. I mean, they have to.
Anyway, thank you so very much for joining us today. Technology can improve electoral processes, and that is true, but it cannot replace integrity, transparency, and public trust. As Nigeria prepares for another critical election cycle, the real challenge may not be whether the technology works, but whether the institutions and stakeholders are willing to make it work for every Nigerian voter. Honorable Molaji Olaoye, thank you very much for joining us and for your insights today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And to our viewers, thank you for watching. Continue with us on the conversation on our social media platforms. You can also join Amanulu Akpo and join us next time for another engaging edition of The Big Story. Please stay with us before we end the news today.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101.
Welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. That was a very interesting conversation with Honorable Bolaji Olai and, of course, Adubuakpoido. And then we've been able to establish quite a number of factors that will help us, understand certain things about our elections that we're preparing for. That is 2027. Are we ready for this advancement or this improvement, or let me say this technological advancement? I think that's the biggest question that the INEC and, of course, the chairman must answer. Basically,
I think it's not just the chairman and INEC. I think other parties will also need to answer if they would really like to, because I know people frustrate election. I mean, I've been to places where people are trying to make up things that did not even happen, and then they say they blame it on. Well, anyway, I just hope everybody gets to pull body, join body, like we say in the local parlance for this election. Don't let anybody take something behind you. Be involved. Be part of it.
And of course, get your PVC ready. My name is Olayemi Adelako. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'll see you tomorrow.
And I'm Manolo Akpoido. Thank you very much for joining us. Same time, same station tomorrow. I will be here. Bye for now.